welcome. My name is Chris Morgan, and this is our 12th video in our Reactor Subtractive Synth video series. In this video, we are going to clean up the interface in our panel and also add a volume control, and then we're going to take our single oscillator or single voice subtractive synth and duplicate it to make it a 2 oscillator or even a 3 oscillator subtractive synth, and then we'll be completely done with our subtractive synth. So first, to clean things up, look in our panel here. We had most recently added the VCF, so I'll turn on the wrench here and figure out how I want to arrange things. Because of my screen resolution, I'm really cramped here, so I may decide to move this over here and then go with a longer VCF display down here. One nice thing about the filter, like the ADSR, is that there's a visual component to it. So if I double click on VCF here, I click on the 2-pole filter, I can go over to its view preferences and turn it on to be visible, and so we will see that wherever it popped up here. Visible. I just need to find it. It should be somewhere. Oh, maybe it's down here. Okay, well, it's somewhere. We will find it eventually here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so way off to the side there. So same thing, I can figure out some way that I want to do this. I may switch my filter type to be menu and not show the label on that, and I can move the cutoff and resonance somewhere there and move this here. So I'm just trying to figure out what's the most space efficient way to group these things. I may shrink that down a little bit and set it to 80 pixels or something so that I can, or 40 pixels I guess, and make this to where it looks a little bit nicer. I really don't, well, 2-pole filter is fine I suppose, but sometimes you want to just decide not to put that information there if you don't think the person's going to appreciate what it is. And for instance, we may not need the resonance value to show 0 to 1. We could hide that information. And I think I do need to go back to 90 pixels here. Or 80. And later I'll attach some knobs to that. Okay, so that's fairly tight there. And I could go back again and make the VCF itself a 3D frame. Still trying to figure out if that's the best way to do this, but for now I think I'll leave that. There's definitely some wasted space here. And so while this is not perfect, it's the best I can do for now. And that would be our synth. Maybe I'll move this tremolo down here. So it's kind of like a puzzle. And move this over here. I can set that one to 3D frame. Set this one to 3D frame. Some space is good, I suppose, for a breathing room. This looks to be totally redundant here with the pitch, so I may go into that and pull that out. But then I really don't want to do that because I would have to reconnect everything. So I might just hide this. Can't hide that. No frame there. And then I can free up that space. So things are coming together a little bit more. And so that's it for the single oscillator of our subtractive synth. Now what happens next is one oscillator isn't going to give us very much fancy stuff. So I'm going to do two things here. First, I'm going to add a volume control. There's several ways to do this, but the simplest way to do it, built-in module under signal path, not necessarily the most intuitive place to find it, you'll see amp mixer. This gives us a ... so we can mix several signals together, but all we want to do right now is to create a control and send our signal into that and send it into the voice combiner so that we have a way to affect the volume, the overall volume of our single oscillator synth here. Now, the next thing is we want to have several of these, at least two for now, and I may move this over to there. What I'm going to do is take the entire synth up to the voice combiner, copy it, make a macro, paste this in there, and now I have, with the volume control, I have a means of copying and pasting very easily my entire synth. So if we look here, this is a single oscillator synth, and I'll call this VCO even though that's redundant, or I could call it voice, something like that. So now if I plug this in, I have the exact same functionality that I had with all these macros, and we should hear the same thing. But here's the nice thing. I can copy that and now have two voices, and we'll have to move our screen. So the trick now is I've got to get the way to mix these things. I'll use the same object. I'll use a mixer, bring my level in there, I'll command click the second voice in, and so now the question is, what do I do for these levels? I've already got levels down here, so I can just add a constant of 1 full amplitude, because I'm going to be affecting the attenuation with the volume control, and I'll use that same value there. So I'm basically saying mix these things at full strength, don't mix them, in other words, and now I'll put that there. So I can have 2 or 3, we'll just leave it at 2 just because we know our screen size is very limited right now. So I now have a 2 voice subtractive synth, and if I look at it here, there's voice 1, there's voice 2, and I have got the level controls for each one. So as I play a sound, I'll hear both of these together. One of these I'll put, so we can hear the differences, I'll set 1 to triangle wave with the wah-wah going, and the other one I'll set to square wave with some tremolo and maybe with the square wave. Now, to hear the 2, if I listen to, turn down the volume here, there's voice 2, and if I turn down the volume here, there's voice 1. So I've got a 2 oscillator thing. If I affect the attacks differently, I'll have one fade in and one come in quickly with a long release, and one and maybe a decay that goes down to a softer sustain level, and the other one will have a long attack, shorter decay. So now we'll listen to the sound. You can hear the sound change over time. And as I release, you hear a different timbre. So now I've got a 2 oscillator, 2 voice subtractive synth. In our final video, we can add some detuning and transposition, and we will be completely done.